which Khayr is going to build on, and your economics, your values. Communication is the third house. How you talk to people, how you get along with your siblings. The fourth house is your family and your private domestic home life. The fifth house becomes your children, how you procreate. This shows you what your children will look like, your love life, as far as your romance, your interests, the things you like to have fun with. The sixth house deals with your personal health and your day-to-day jobs, your habits, your routines. The seventh house is your relationships once you decide to contractually get married. The eighth house, as we say it too, that's the house of marriage, because this is where you like to procreate. This is the house of sex and joint finances, where you share your bank accounts with people. The ninth house is higher education, when you go off to school. The 10th house becomes your career and the things you want to be successful at and doing. And job and career is two totally different things here. 11th house is the house of friends and groups of people and technology. And the 12th house is the house of spirituality and complete unification and getting close to the Creator. And there's more definitions that go inside of those, but that sums up this reality. And this is why it was imperative that the priests of old understood what these 12 signs represented in our psychology and how it would affect us. But my first important thing that I like to deal with is the aspect of warfare that I want your listeners to become acquainted with, because the first order of the day is the first house, or the first sign, which is Aries, and this is start with the spring equinox. Now, Aries is a sign of warfare. It's a sign of aggression. It's a sign of getting things done. Now, if you look at the psychology, because see, remember, when you played the African pledge, that was to remind us that we are at a battle with someone, all right? Now we have to remember and honor a battle. And certain battles we lost, certain battles we won. But the fact of the matter is the historical record clearly shows that African people have an enemy. That's a fact. Now, when we size up the psychology of the United States of America, who clearly was an enemy to African people, and is, you can see that they have an infatuation with planetary alignment. So if you Google, my favorite things to point out is Google U.S. Mars, Google Mars U.S. Capitol Building, and go to images and see what you see. You'll see a statue at the U.S. Capitol Building on the right-hand side of the entrance before they go in. And this is where the United States government makes their laws. But there's a statue of the Roman god of war, Mars, right there at this building. And then you can go to the Thomas Jefferson Library of Congress and type in statue of King Neptune.
But how did you call on your ancestors to come back?
And that's what I like to get. Go ahead, brother.
Ashe, you definitely, brother, have a lot on your mind, more than the measly amount of time that we have to offer you today. But look, I want to offer you right now on the air an opportunity to come back to the show and share more of this information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Okay, but before I let you go, you're working on a new project. I think it's new. The Miracle Prayer?
Yeah, Miracle Prayer 7-week class started on Wednesday. People can still jump in. Just visit the website, My Astrology Coach, go to classes and click on the Miracle Prayer. But it's a 42 name of God in the ancient Hebrew, which from my understanding definitely comes from Africa. That's an African spiritual system that I talked about earlier. When Africa knew that we was getting invaded, we were so smart that we had to make up a new mystery system, and that became Judaism and Islam. So all of it's ours. Everything on this earth is our science. But that prayer helps us get in tune with the 7 archangels that deal with the 7 days of the week. Every single day has an angel, because every single day has a vibration. Sunday, you on the radio. Tomorrow's a business day. Friday, you like to party, relax, go get your haircut. Every day is a vibration, and this prayer gets you in tune with the 7 rays of light that deals with, obviously, the color spectrum of the rainbow, which is our total reality. So that's what that prayer does.
Okay, now how can a person get involved with this project?
Just simply go to the website, myastrologycoach.com, click on classes, and just sign up for it. And just contact me via My Astrology Coach if you got people got any questions on it. I'll explain it. I just had to hurry up and put it in there because I know my time is short. But visit the website, myastrologycoach.com. Click on classes. It's there, or click on contact us and get a hold of us, and we explain it to you. And thank you for having me.
Not a problem. One more time, very slowly. What is that contact website where the audience get all of these informations from you?
Yeah, we're at www.myastrologycoach.com. Myastrologycoach.com is where we at.
and the brother's name is Noble Anpu Galileo. We'd like to thank you so much, brother, for dropping all of that information in just a short amount of time, and for doing the work that you are doing and continue to do. So thank you so much, bro.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Ashe, brother.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you back. Now, Ashe. Now, in the second segment, we have the second part of this astrological tag team. Brother Khayr Love, also known as Coach K. Now, Coach K is, I'm going to give you a full introduction to him right after we come back from this break. But and this week we have an astrological tag team show happening for you here. We just heard from Brother Noble Anpu Galileo, and we urge you to get back in touch with that brother because he has a lot on his mind. But right now we're going to transition into our second guest. Now, this guest, I guess I should start the intro by offering a question. Who is Sufi Khayr? Sufi Khayr Love, a.k.a. Coach K, is a native of Washington, D.C. He attended high school. While attending high school, he was recruited by West Point Military Academy. He decided, however, to go to Greensboro, North Carolina, and North Carolina A&T State University on a full banking and finance scholarship. 2 years later, for lack of interest and let's say a maturing mind, he decided to step away from his formal education and go on a learning, how do you say, walkabout, if you will. So he returned to school more focused 2 years later and founded the Aggie Spiritual Way Tai Chi Club, and where he also became a group mentor to several clubs on campus, promoting God consciousness through spirituality, sacred sexuality, financial literacy, strategic and harmonious relationships, and the law of attraction. Brother Khayr, or should we say Coach K, has been studying relaxation techniques since 1998. And in 2004, he received a black belt in Tai Chi by the 10th degree Grand Master Sunyata. And in 2008, he founded the Relaxation is the Key program, and that can be found at relaxationisthekey.com. We are very blessed and honored to have Brother Khayr Love. Coach K, are you there? Trying to get Coach K on the line. But I'll tell you more about him. In 2002,
a lot of our children have been labeled as ODD, oppositional defiancy disorder. And my website for working with those children is called cultivatingwinners.com. cultivatingwinners.com. There's 3 classifications I'm working with, from 9 to 12, from 13 to 17, and then from 18 to 21 or 22. And that introduces them to my Young Scholars program, my Young Symbol program, different strategies that I have implemented in the past while I was at North Carolina A&T with the History Club and Black Wednesdays. Black Wednesdays was like the Navy SEALs group of the History Club. So if the History Club was the Army, then the Black Wednesdays was the Navy SEALs. They were getting all my advanced lessons that I had at that time. I was giving them everything strategically, especially strategy, how to pick a man to have a baby with, strategy on how to pick a woman to be your wife, strategy on how to make money. Let's look at Martin Luther King, Noble Drew Ali, and Malcolm X, and not just say, oh, we love them, but what did they make their mistakes at? Why the hell ain't they here right now? Why their legacy is marred by death, and how you can avoid that, how being a martyr is stupid. Those are some of the things that I taught the people that were in my class, and I was like, yo, it's time for me to bring that back, because I've been studying a lot of online marketing and making money online, and I make most of my money online. And I say that's what gives me a lot of freedom. And the people who we claim are our opposition, that's where they're making their money at, online. But they don't have a monopoly on it. We just have an attitude about it. We have an attitude about it, but we claim we want something, but we keep doing the same old things. And these people are leaving us like light years behind because we still want, I understand agriculture is important. I got 5 acres of land myself. I am a landowner. I'm planning on by the end of this year acquiring another 20 or 30 acres. But the money right now is, the commerce is, can you accept plastic? Whether you like it or not. People talking about, well, the dollar's going to fail, but the credit card ain't. You better put some zeros in your bank account. And so that's a mentality that people have to, a sickness, because poverty to me is the only enemy right now of the African mind. It is the number one enemy, is poverty and not understanding and having a strong financial literacy. And the answer is not kumbaya. The answer is not, oh, we need to all get along. No, it's not. We need to understand how money pyramids operates, because we stopped studying astrology. And we stopped getting that money like we was getting it. We govern all resources on this entire planet. Like Anpu said, as we spinning in this whole void of darkness, we were the governors. Something happened, but we can come back, and now is the time for something to happen again. And so I'm just wanting to be a part and play my role in letting people wake up from their amnesia. It's in your DNA. You just got to wake up from your amnesia. Wake up, wake up. You're not a school teacher. You're a killer. Everybody, that's my movie, Long Kiss Goodnight. Everybody go watch Long Kiss Goodnight. That's the story of the black race. Charlie Baltimore. She's the story. They're not going to never put a black woman and let her be the story of the black race. They're always going to put it in somebody else's face. But Charlie Baltimore had amnesia and thought she was a school teacher. And somebody tried to attack her family and hurt her daughter, and she murdered them. And she was like, wow, where did I get that skill from? And then throughout the movie, she had what? Samuel Jackson, a guide, a detective. He was really a mad guy who was showing her, wake up, wake up, wake up. And when she discovered who she really was, her skill set came to the forefront. And that's my specialty. That's what Coach K does. I help people bring their skill set to the forefront. Relationships need help. I'm an expert relationships coach as well. But I'm coaching bosses right now. I'm looking for CEOs and executives, because we need heads of states who are going to step in and work and say, look, I'm not afraid of $1 million a month. I'm not afraid of $10,000 in a day. We haven't even been taught those kind of figures. We've been taught to be afraid of that. You got to change your mindset, because that affects your relationships. It affects, you got your girl watching Jay-Z or watching Lil Wayne or watching somebody on TV because of the money and power and revenue that he commands. You got to be able to command that if you want to get her attention. So if your thought level can't go past $100,000 a year, is a lot of money. I got one mentor who said she just quit a job for making $130,000 a month and said, Khayr, that ain't no money. I got to really get paid. What? I'm looking at one of my other coaches. He said he's been doing 6 figures every month for the last 49 months. I want everybody on this call right now to just imagine, what can you do with $100,000 a month? We have a problem, brother. I asked a sister this, and she said, what would I do with all that money? That's a sickness, that we're not ready for wealth. I do my best to get people ready for wealth, because wealth won't come to you if you're not ready for it. A good relationship won't come to you if you're not ready for it. And none of these things will come to you if you are in a cage, if you are not free and you don't know who you really are going on right. That's why my project.
No, brother, when you're talking about the things you're talking about, you can talk as long as you want to. You are dropping power. And, okay, where does a person start? We don't usually associate finance and astrology together, but they are links. what is the first step? Should somebody get an astrological reading to try to find out what type of hustling, what area of hustling they should go into?
And that's a great question. Let me tie it together. Do you mind if I tie the astrology and the money together?
Please do, Coach.
See, my brother Anpu, he's a master too. The noble, the whole. Don't worry about Anpu and the Galileo. You better be focused on the noble. That's one of my brothers that we build on and say timing. When we look at the astrological parts, we know that the whole universe is moving. And we look at the stock market and see that it fluctuates as well. So when do I do what? When do I do what? How do you get a woman pregnant? The sperm got to hit the egg when she's ovulating. If she ain't ovulating, she ain't getting pregnant. Period. She's only ovulating for 3.5, 4 days. You ain't hitting it right there, then ain't gonna be nothing produced. The astrological chart, by watching the planets Venus, where they are in your natal chart, the planet Jupiter, where it's at in your natal chart, and then looking at Venus and Jupiter as they move through the transiting sky. So let's say you draw a circle on a piece of paper. You can do this in your mind. You drew a circle on a piece of paper and you put a nickel and a quarter on the inside of the circle. Put one of them at 9 o'clock and one of them at 3 o'clock. Then take a nickel and a quarter and put on the outside of the circle. And then just turn and rotate them and put a nickel at 12 o'clock and a quarter at 6 o'clock. Now you have these two planets on the outside are aspecting those two planets on the inside. The two planets on the inside are never going to move. That is your natal positions. But the two coins on the outside are going to move in a counterclockwise motion at different speeds. So astrologers and astronomers, we look at the speed and say, oh, I can tell by how fast you move. I know where you're going to be. So one of the things that I specialize in outside of relationships, because of things that I came from in my childhood, is money. And Jupiter says, where's your money? Because Jupiter is, I will expand everything. He's also your philosophy, your higher thinking. And you should get paid for your higher mind. But Jupiter is the planet of benevolence, too. You know, sometimes the information is so new. It's so new, and people have been so self-defeating for so long, blaming other people when all you had to do was look and see, where is my money? It had it in your face. Remember Tom Cruise, his old movie said, show me the money. That's what you should go to an astrologer and say, show me the money. People come to me so much and say, well, who goes well with a Cancer? Who goes well with a Sagittarius? The one who will help you get some money is what you better be asking about. And you need to be worried about where your bread is at, where your prosperity is. Because if you know your prosperity, guess what you're going to attract? You're going to attract somebody else who knows their prosperity. But if you don't know where your money is at, 9 times out of 10, the universe is going to give you somebody else who's blind to their prosperity as well. And then the next thing you know, both of y'all are around here trying to steal from one another. And that's ugly. Now, I don't mean just literally steal out of somebody's wallet, but stealing experiences, stealing joy, stealing emotion, stealing love, stealing power, stealing energy, being energy vampires. And then you just break up and then you blame the other person. Well, all you needed to know was, what's your spiritual destiny? How can I support you? Where's your money? How do you communicate? What are your thoughts? What are your rules, regulations, and restrictions? What's your karmic past? Those are the things that I cover in a reading. I love doing readings for children, too. Oh, I love it. My youngest to date right now is like a 10-day-old baby boy. And his father was like, oh, and I was like, quit trying to raise him like your life. He don't have the same birthday. Now you know what he's doing. Respect him for his birthday and his energy. This is his potential. Don't you mess it up. Your mama just didn't know this information. Now I'm giving it to you now. He's 9 days old. Now go run with that. Run with that. And I'm passionate about that. I didn't say that's one of my projects because I've been doing that for years, maybe 3 or 4 years. But right now I'm at a proficiency level where I can really look in there and show people where the money is at. You know, one thing that really saddens me is a lot of my clients who keep it on the low are not of African descent. Like I'm doing attorneys right now. I'm doing like CEOs right now, and they're using it in their business. They already have a $500,000 budget, and I'm saying, hey, 2 more years, buddy, you're gonna blow up. You ain't doing nothing right now. What? Thank you. Now how do I do this? And they paying close attention. Close attention. I'm like, how did you find me? Oh, so-and-so told me about you. Or da-da-da-da, I saw you somewhere. I found your website, CoachKhayr.com, and then they went to the store or went to the services. That's how people can find me. They want to do the same thing that the attorneys are doing and the CEOs. You know how you get rich? Do what rich people do. Wanted to use JP Morgan or something sharp millionaires don't use astrology. To break up the ground, you had to trade them some labor. You know, there had to be some exchange of energy in order for balance to maintain. Now we use money. So people who have what we call an anal personality, they think everyone owes me something, and I shouldn't have to pay for anything. Well, bums on the street don't even think like that. Even the bum who's begging, he's going to take the money and go spend it on something. Even if he does go buy a bottle of wine, he's not begging for the wine. He knows he got to go pay for the wine. Maybe he say, can I shine your shoes or can I wash your windshield? There's got to be an exchange of energy, and that's the culture. And you disrespect the energy, and you start to try to offset the universe if you continually do things always for free, like that, and there's no type of compensation. I've got tons of videos on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and just watch things, and we have a show on Sundays at 8 o'clock where we do mini readings, and you can come on there and get mini readings for free. But in order for us to actually be able to take care of our families by this particular profession that we do, there's got to be an exchange of energy. And right now I don't need chickens, and I don't need seeds, and I don't need a mechanic. You know, I want the regular medium of exchange that everybody else wants. When you go to your job with Mr. Charlie, you want Mr. Charlie to give you your money at the end of the week or every 2 weeks or once a month. If you're on disability, you get an SSI check or something like that, you want your money to come and hit your direct deposit. You have to write a check and pay the rent, or if you are a landlord, you want somebody to exchange energy for the services that you are. People sometimes, I don't know what they think, that this is something that's supposed to be, done, out of the graciousness of our heart. But they haven't seen, like, we put the same effort into this as professional baseball players do in hitting a 95-mile-an-hour pitch, or Kobe Bryant shooting a jumper. We put just as much effort into that. And so once we are that energy level, when people come and they realize that first, and they say, man, I got an attitude of gratitude. I really appreciate you. What is it that and they come and say, I'm willing to go ahead and invest in themselves, because you're not really investing in, you're not really paying me, you're investing in yourself. But I'm like an interpreter. What if you would go to China? Would you want somebody to just interpret for you for free? Or what if somebody from China came here and asked you to walk around and interpret for them? When you want them to but I did start to study. I started to spend my dope money on books. That's why I don't really front on people who sell dope, because I've been to a lot of spiritual places and seen doughboys there coming in riding on 20s and spend $2,000 or $3,000 on books and incense and soaps, just because they're giving and they know that it's going to the right place. They see somebody doing something with it. Everybody got some heart to them, man. Everybody. Just so what you see on the outside, you never know what's coming out of the inside. And then I met a master. I met my first master teacher, and I wanted to join a fraternity, an esoteric fraternity, because I was tired of hearing about people talk about the Masons and the Rosicrucians and all this, and I was joining the Order of Melchizedek, and I filled out an application, and I told the truth about everything. I was just honest. I laid on the floor on December 31st. I think that was 95 or 90-something. I don't know, late 90s. And I put everything down. I just told the truth about how I felt bad about myself and all this. And I sent it in, And then a few months later, a letter came back, and they accepted me, and they said, your new spiritual name is Khayr. And I said, well, what does that mean? And they said it means excellence and benevolence. And I said, man, you must have got my paperwork mixed up with somebody else's. Didn't I tell you what I do for a living? Didn't I tell you the things that I've done? Didn't I tell you how I've done this, that, and the third? And I called them, and they said, no, that's you, bro. That's you. And it was a heavy burden just trying to figure out who Khayr was. I didn't know astrology at this point. This was like 97, 98. I hadn't even started. I wasn't even thinking about astrology. I was just like, wow, Khayr. But in the streets, everybody called me Jazz. But they liked my swagger. They liked my swagger, what I did and how I could avoid the police and how I could just make what I did seem so fun and so easy. They didn't know the background, though. But at night, I would be studying, reading books, reading the Quran, reading the Bible, reading it in Hebrew. You know, that's one of the things why I love Anpu's project. Learning this Hebrew language was probably one of the things that was really, I don't know it as well as him, but just to recognize that I was losing something from the English version of ancient text was powerful. And to open my mind and to learn humility, that was the thing. And then I always wanted to get out of the game. I just hadn't found my route yet. And then I guess in 2001, I started studying astrology, and I started studying martial arts, and I met my second grandmaster. And he taught me Tantra. He taught me the aspects of divine sexuality, divine masculine energy, divine feminine energy. He taught me about healing people, and he taught me about death. And all of this stuff started blending together, and it was like a whirlwind. And then my father died. And so here's the greatest person I know in my life that died. And then 1 month later, the cops ran up on me, like heavy. And I quit. Like I was laying on the floor. They was in my house with machine guns. And I could hear my father in my ear laughing. And I was like, I quit, because he knew I was hard-headed. And I knew I could feel my father's energy. 1 month later, it was 1 month to the day that we buried him, that the police came up on me like that. And I could hear him, and I was on the floor saying, I quit. I was telling my father, I'm done. And I said, I'm going to devote my life, the rest of it, to doing what I got to do to take this information to the next level. I went back to college, got my degree. I got my black belt in the arts. I started refining my technique. To address you as doctor. But when you got these little thorns or these acorns in your shoe or these splinters in your hand, it's going to be harder. It's going to be harder. I said, don't be like Coach. Keep good credit. Keep a driver's license. Keep some condoms on you. No criminal record. Watch what happens. And put it together with all of this strategy. That was the core. That was to keep your nose clean. I had to show them that I could speak to them in their own language. And that's what's the future for me, is to continue to speak to the youth in their own language, speak to them with unbridled, radical honesty, and empower them with skills to get paid, be a boss, and love and respect themselves. Learn to meet God in them. I want them to teach. I want them to learn yoga. I want them to learn Tai Chi. I also want them to go to the gun range. I also want them to learn how to meditate. I want them all to have passports. That's what I want. I want to influence 1,000 people, at least 1,000, and get them really skilled. And then say, okay, I did 1,000, you go do 1,000. We got to reproduce ourselves. I want them to have a radio program like mine, like yours. I want them to not waste their time on Facebook, like you just said. That was profound what you said. Think about, in a class we had, I know this is not our subject, the guy yesterday, he asked us, he said, what if it cost you 50 cents to like everything you liked on Facebook? Would you like all that stuff? Or do you carelessly go around in a consumption type delusional activist role, just liking stuff and sharing it? What if it cost you 50 cents? You put some thought toward it then. You know what I'm saying? I like 15 things this morning. That's $7.50. I ain't got that kind of money to be giving no Facebook.